Kia ora koutou katoa. It's lovely to see you, except of course that I can't see you. None of us can. It's a really unusual experience for us. As you have, I'm sure, the last couple of months we've been spending a hell of a lot of time sitting behind small square screens like this, looking at our friends and our whānau and our family and so on. For those of us who love teaching, it's been a very strange experience having to work with people online. So we can't see you, but I know you're out there. There are somewhere in the vicinity of 600 or 800 people who've tuned in, and we're really thankful for the fact that you've done that. Who knows where you are? You could be in Ikitahuna or Invercargill or Taranaki or the far north or the far east, or wherever you are. Welcome to this, and welcome to the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. The little picture that you can see on the right-hand side there is inside of it's the inside of one of our main building. This is Geoffrey Perrin building, and my office is up there on the you can't quite see it, it's kind of tucked up around the back there, but it's a precious kind of building to us, and I wanted to open with that particular slide because there's something about what goes on inside that building that speaks to what we are as a College of Humanities and Social Sciences.
Richard, I'm just going to interrupt there and get you to hold there, please, and just get you to share your screen, please.
Sorry guys, Rach, my screen is shared.
Reshare it for me so that we can just make sure we've queued that and loaded that next to you, because we want to see this beautiful. We want to see this beautiful building. We do
want to see it. How's that looking now?
Okay, looking good now. I'm just going to load that up. I can see the spheres of the Sir Geoffrey Perrin building, and you're away. Thank you.
Excellent. So this is what happens when we have events like this. The tech sometimes falls over on us, but thanks for bearing with us, and we're back live now. That building, so I would have been talking to you and you'd be thinking, what the hell is he talking about? The building is actually on the right-hand side there. That's one of the principal buildings of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences on the Manawatu 2 campus. We're on 3 campuses. We're in Wellington, and we're also in the Albany campus in Auckland. What I'd like to do for 10 or so minutes is just tell you a wee bit about what our college is about. I'll speak a wee bit about the Bachelor of Arts, which is one of the programs that I teach into, but we have a whole range of programs in our college, including the BC, the Bachelor of, which my friend and colleague Nick is going to deal with in 10 or 12 minutes time. We have courses in Te Reo Māori, we have them in psychology, we have them in geography. We have a whole range of things which are just deeply, deeply fascinating. So I want to talk to you a wee bit about that, but there are 2 things in particular which I'd really like to spend some time with you discussing, to be studying a degree, any program in the College of Humanities and the Social Sciences. Partly that has to do with the kind of work that we do and the way in which we work with students to learn how to ask good questions and to develop their minds and so on. Partly it has to do with the future of work. We're not quite sure where that's heading in this post-COVID post-pandemic world, but there are some stories that are often told about qualifications like the degrees that we teach in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and about the extent to which they find people work. And quite a few of those stories are wrong, and they're obsolete, and they're out of date, and they've become more so, I think, in this COVID world of ours. So I want to spend some time talking with you about those sorts of things as well. And then if you have any questions, about anything, maybe about the arts qualifications, maybe about university generally, maybe about what it's like being a student, send those in, please, and I'll have some time to go through those with you as well. Just have a look at there's a little quote there at the bottom of that slide. It comes from a woman called Helen Small. She's a New Zealand trained woman. She works at a university in the United Kingdom. That, I think, really goes to the guts of what we do in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, whichever program it is that you choose to do with us. One of the really powerful things that we will help you to do is to learn how to use your intelligence against the default grain of habit. It might sound like a kind of clunky thing, but the last bit is really important. We often grow up and we take things for granted, and we learn to see the world and the people with whom we share the world in a particular kind of way. And we sometimes forget to ask questions about the way we see the world. We sometimes forget to think, well, maybe somebody else, the person sitting next to me or the person on that bus over there, maybe she sees the world in a slightly different way. And one of the very powerful things that we do is we work with students to ask questions and to think differently about the way in which they see the world. that's a really important and a really powerful thing to do. It also, and we get to this later on, it also has absolutely direct relevance to the job market. There is just sitting above that quote, there's a little comment there too about our classes, and I think that's one of the really precious things about our university. 2 of my daughters went to other universities. They sure as hell didn't want to go to the one that their mother and their father taught at. So they cleared out to other universities where they were students in enormous classes, sometimes spread across 2 or 3 lecture theatres. We choose a different model with our students in the College of Humanities and the Social Sciences. We have smaller, more intimate classes. So we will know who you are. We will develop relationships with you. We will know what your name is. So that as we're going through that process of working with you so that you learn how to use your intelligence to question the way things appear to be and the way you've always said, who you've always thought things are, we'll know who you are. We'll work with you in quite a personal and an intimate kind of relationship. And I think that's a powerful assistance. It's a powerful means of doing the learning that you do with us, whichever program you choose. I don't know, have you seen these? They're going to go on sale soon. There were a guy on Radio New Zealand, a fellow called Jesse Mulligan, who does the afternoon show. Had a t-shirt competition, a COVID t-shirt competition. There were lots and lots and lots of entries. He's chosen 4 or 5, which are the winners. But on his website, he's got a whole bunch of photos about all of the entries that came in. These are fantastic. This is a gig t-shirt, the one that says New York gone, Paris gone, London gone. What's happening is we're all on our back lawns. The other t-shirt, the black one there, it's a black Kiwiana t-shirt. All kinds of things that we are really familiar with now, teddy bears and face masks and 2-meter signs and bubbles and so on. I wanted to put those 2 t-shirts up there because this is an important time to be reflecting on the nature of the world, the nature of the place we live in, the kinds of challenges that your family and your partners and your neighbours and maybe your mums and dads and your friends might be facing as we live in these really uncertain times. At times like this, it's important that there are people who are able to hit the pause button and just say to themselves, okay, what is going on here? How do I make sense of what is happening? How can I explain what's occurring in the world, and how can I think of and imagine a better world? Most importantly, how do I figure out how to get from where we are now to that place over there that I think would be a better place to be in? In the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, right across all of those programs that you're about to hear about across the course of this evening, we will give you lots of different kinds of practical and intellectual tools that will help you to ask those questions. And I'm going to get to this in a wee bit, but I know that there is a story that is often told about arts qualifications, programs often in colleges like ours, which say, you read books and you do this and you do other things. What's the kind of relevance to the job market? What's the kind of relevance to the world in which we live? I think that this particular point in history, we are badly in need of people with good minds who can ask really perceptive and probing questions, people who are interested in human beings, the way they are, the way they think, the way they interact with each other, more than any other time that I can remember in the nearly 60 years that I've been on this earth. Those kinds of attributes, those kinds of qualities are the kinds of things that the world needs. If you're that kind of person, if you're nosy about other people, if you're interested in their pasts, if you're interested in the way they dress, the kind of music they listen to, the sort of humour that they're engaging with, the kind of books that they read, if you're interested in what happened a very long time ago in the history of the world and how it might relate to what is going on now, if you're interested in different cultures and different languages, this is your time. And we are the college with whom you can do that kind of work and that kind of learning. So that's the pitch, I think, as far as why we need to have people in the world who are great thinkers now more than ever. Let me move on to the next part of the presentation. I'm very conscious as the father of 2 young women who have student loans that it is also really important to talk about the nature of work. It is important, it's appropriate, we're at a university, we're educating and we're training people, that we talk about what it is that they can do with their qualifications when they leave here. Let me just go through a couple of things. You may have come across this stuff or you may not, I'm not sure, but here are some facts or some figures, some statistics. They applied pre-COVID. Things will have sharpened up a wee bit post-COVID. this stat, for instance, it depends on whose report you read, but we know that a significant proportion of jobs that are currently done in this country are either at risk of being fully automated or comprise a series of different activities which will be affected by automation and machine learning and what's called the fourth industrial revolution at some point in time. So we know that the kind of work that people are doing in this country will be changing and is changing quite quickly. If you're a year 13, see, I can't see you, so who knows, maybe you're the parent of the year 13. If you are, you might be interested in this one. 2/3 of you who are currently sitting in a year 13 class will be doing jobs that don't exist at all yet. You might be able to imagine what those jobs are, but we don't really know what they're going to be. What's more, increasingly, you will be doing a range of different careers. This is research that has come out of people who have done this work in the New Zealand context, drawn on the overseas experience as well. But increasingly, fewer and fewer people will have a single career, and they might have multiple employers. So what does it mean for you and for our college? We know that we need to have carpenters, we need to have sparkies, we need to have medical people, we need to have vets, we need to have people who can build bridges. But we also know that we need number 8 fencing wire for the might. And this is one of the great favourite quotes of mine, a woman who's the Chief Executive Officer of Westpac Bank. She's based out of Sydney. She's a banker, but she employs people who look like our graduates. She employs people who've done degrees which are built around what are called transferable skills. People who can think differently, who can think critically, who are comfortable with people from other cultures, comfortable with people who speak other languages, people who are great at communicating and at collaborating. One of the last things I want to show you here, because I'm aware that time is passing, is this.
We're going to have to nearly wind you up there, Richard. I'm sorry, I'm not going to let you get through that last one, but we'll leave it up there.
Thanks,
I'm just going to ask one very quick question, and that's relating to jobs. And everyone wants to know what the job market's like. If you come out with the BA, you talked about the skills that are available across and what you gain from that. But just can you make a little comment about what the job market's like?
Okay, last year we did a survey of all of our graduates from 2019. 80% of those people were in work already, Rachel. They had 93 different job titles between them, and around about a third of them were already earning more than $51,000. Nick, who teaches into the BC, will give you figures that are even more compelling for that qualification. Employment rates around about 90,000. Earning rates are really healthy there as well. So in a world in which people are increasingly looking for transferable skills, who are increasingly looking for employees who have really good, sharp minds, who can ask great questions and look around corners, people with arts and communications and other forms of those kinds of degrees, the kind of stuff we do in our college, are going to be in increasingly high demand.
Great. Kia ora koutou. My name is Nick Holm, and I'm a senior lecturer in media studies. And I'm here this afternoon to talk to you about the Bachelor of Communication. I'll also be joined by my colleagues Elspeth Tilley and Tony Fisher, who will be answering questions in the chat where they can. So while I talk, please feel free to fire away. Much like the BA, the Bachelor of Communication is a generalist degree. This means you'll have flexibility regarding how you build your course of study, and you'll be able to choose from a range of courses depending on what you choose to focus on. Now, the Bachelor of Communication has substantial overlap with the Bachelor of Arts, but with a slightly different emphasis, which, as you might imagine, is on communication. At its heart, communication is about making meaning. It's about using images, stories, music, and words to get your point across, to persuade someone, to help someone understand the world or to understand someone else. We can use communication to entertain someone, or to change their mind, or to change their life. And communication, as we kind of study it and teach it at Massey, is about meaning making in practice. It's about learning about what communication is and learning how to do it in effective ways. And the reason why we study communication is because it is, without exaggeration, the most important thing shaping our world today. If you want to make sense of the world, if you want to thrive in it, to change it, it's absolutely essential that you understand how communication works and what it does. So when you do a Bachelor of Communication at Massey, you'll first of all learn what communication is. Second, you'll learn why it's important. And third, you'll learn how to communicate effectively in your given area. Now, the way we teach communications at Massey is all about connections, because communication for us is a collaboration between the College of Humanities and Social Sciences and the Massey Business School. Communication is a 3-year program. It's available on every campus, and it's available at distance, though your options may change slightly depending on where you're based. In your first year with the BC, you'll complete a set course of study that will introduce you to different subjects in the degree. We do this to make sure that you have a solid grasp of the different ways we can study communication and which ones speak to your particular strengths and interests. In your second and third years, you'll then be able to build a course of study based on your own interests. You'll do this by combining a focus from the art side of things with a focus from the business side of things, as I've illustrated in my slide here. So you can select topics like media studies, expressive arts and linguistics, and then pair them with courses in marketing, journalism, public relations, or communication management. And this means you can build a combination like marketing and media studies, expressive arts and public relations, or linguistics and communication management. But don't worry about this too much because you don't have to make these choices till the end of your first year. So in terms of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, there are 3 majors you can choose from in the BC. The first of these is expressive arts, what's sometimes called the triple dip major. And it's called that because you can kind of build your own course of study out of creative writing, theatre, and digital media production. You choose how much of each of the ingredients you want to have. And this is a different way of learning skills like teamwork and creative thinking. And this particular structure was invented in response to student demand, because students wanted a little bit of each thing, but not necessarily to do a whole major on one or the other. So we've made a way for them to choose the 3 that they like and the ratios they want. Expressive arts can really help with skills like leadership and event management, and it's a good way to add some variety and fun to your Bachelor of Communication. Next up, we have linguistics. And linguistics is the study of language, but it's also much more. Linguistics is about studying the role of language in all aspects of social life, from the courtroom to the boardroom and beyond. A major in linguistics from Massey will provide you with the opportunity to learn about the language of leadership in workplace contexts, or the relationship between language and law, or the ways in which we can use language to influence opinion and behaviour. We also offer courses that examine things like language in the Pacific, or communication on the web in a new mediated context. I should also add that the linguistics is available in the Bachelor of Arts as well as the BC. Finally, we have media studies, which is where I teach into. Media studies is all about exploring the media from multiple angles, thinking about the media in terms of culture, in terms of business, politics, industry, and how they interact and combine and contrast with one another. If you take media studies, you can study courses exploring subjects like advertising and consumerism, digital and social media, film history, popular music, or contemporary issues like fake news. In media studies, you'll also have the opportunity to get hands-on if you want to with our courses in media production, but these are optional. So you can make studying media production and script writing central to media studies, or you can focus more on thinking about social, cultural, economic aspects of the media. Now, the thing we're really proud of in the BC is that this produces graduates who are flexible and well-rounded, with a demonstrated history of graduate employment. I've just picked out 2 of our recent graduates to kind of spotlight the range of careers and options available to you. So on the one hand, we have Adelaide McDougall. After graduation, she worked for a film production company in New Zealand and has since been involved in the art and production departments for Ghost in the Shell and with South Pacific Pictures on the TV show West Side. She's now based in Vancouver as a freelancer, and she's recently completed her own first short film project. Then we have Almaz Raab, who started the BC as a journalism major before switching to PR and then finally media studies. The flexibility of the program meant that even though she changed her focus as she worked out what she wanted to do, she didn't have to take additional courses. She also took advantage of internship courses that we have part of the BC and worked for a lifestyle magazine in Auckland who offered her a job as soon as she graduated. She's since shifted into advertising, and after working for Colenso New Zealand, she now works in London for BBDO, one of the world's biggest advertising agencies. So graduates in general tend to find work in fields like public relations. They become media officers working for NGOs, government departments or companies. Many of our graduates are content creators working in journalism, film and TV production, advertising, script writing or web content. Or the communication managers, helping companies have efficient and effective internal communications. Communication is the field of study then that enables you to find work in the area that you're passionate about. We've had graduates who've worked in sport, working as a media trainer for Junior All Blacks, working in the arts, doing publicity for Bats Theatre here in Wellington, where I'm based, or even a graduate who worked for the European Astronaut Program, running their Twitter account, where she gets to tweet about spacewalks and gravity training. It's also more than just about getting you a job, though. It's also designed to provide you with the knowledge and skills that will help you successfully make your way in the world. And by helping you learn about communication, we hope to do more than just help you take up a job in media industries. We want to provide you with the skills to be an active and empowered citizen in a society where communication is really important, to be able to understand how the media influences us and how we can influence it, to know what's going on, how to have your voice heard, and to hear the voices of others, and to know when, where, and why you can make a difference. At Massey, we think that when communication helps you understand what makes people pay attention, helps them understand one another, and help you work out what it takes to change minds. And that's what I have to say then about the BC. I'm now happy to take any questions you might have. Rachel?
Thanks, Nick. Really great to hear where your graduates are going and hear what sort of jobs that they're going into. It really takes you to some exciting places. We've got a question here which is come through on the Q&A. Would a BC help going towards advertising career, or would it be better to go with the BA?
Well, I don't want to fight the two children against one another. They're both wonderful options. What I can say is that many of our graduates from the BC have gone on to careers in advertising. It's actually quite a common career pathway we've found for our graduates in recent years. I teach a course for second years called Advertising and Consumer Society, and we also teach courses in things like media production, which are really important for learning those skills, which can help you in the industry. So one thing I can say for certain is that, yeah, we do have a really good history with our graduates ending up in advertising, working both as creatives, those who make the advertisements, and working in accounts, helping manage clients, kind of come up with new briefs and new campaigns. So yeah, absolutely. We absolutely produce people who work in advertising across different industries.
Fantastic, thank you. A couple more here. So school versus uni, there's a question regarding class sizes and how that first year class sizes might look like. The sort of the size and the environment, be interested to hear, please.
In part, it depends where you're going to study, right? So our different campuses have different focuses. In general, in our first year courses, we tend to have a large lecture mode with somewhere between 60 to 100 students, but then these are complemented by tutorials where you'll get much more personalized instruction in smaller groups of about 20 or smaller. Once you get to the upper levels, second and third year of the BC, you'll be in courses in general between 20 and 50 students. Of course, if you're doing something like production, you'll get a lot more kind of hands-on time, so be more focused in that context. But in general, as you go along, you'll get more and more focused attention. So yeah, it really depends on class size. It could be ranging anywhere from 10 students at some specialized upper year course to 100 in a first year course. But no matter what level you're at, we make sure that through things like tutorials that you get personalized attention. People will know your name. People will be there to help you out, answer your questions, and help you do the best you can do.
Awesome, that's really good, thank you. I've got one more here for you, and it's really the why Massey. So we know communication is really popular at the moment, and there's a lot of social media enthusiasts out there. So yeah, what's the
BC we offer at Massey is one of the longest established Bachelor of Communication programs in the country. And I think one of the things that makes it really special and a really useful qualification, the way we teach it, is that it's really all about this collaboration between the arts and the business. What this means is that you'll have the opportunity to build your course of study, but what we make sure is that you combine kind of this vocational, tailored education that the business side will give you, so you'll be trained in directly applicable skills, and we combine it with this arts and humanities, social sciences side, which gives you that larger, critical, creative perspective. And this was one of the reasons why our graduates are really in demand, because they have that mix of skills, those kind of maybe more applied, close technical skills, but also these bigger thinking, this ability to think about larger contexts. One thing that also distinguishes us from many other BCs is that we have media production built into it. So you can not just learn about communication, you can also learn how to make web content, you can learn how to use a camera. It's not the same as going to a technical training school in those areas, but you can build it into your study as a larger part to make sure you have a wide range of skills that employers are after. And I think that balance between the two sides, the business and arts, it's not just about getting a job. It also gives you a really, prepares you to think in a diverse range of ways. It gives you a breadth of knowledge and a breadth of skills that's really important, as Richard was saying earlier, for being flexible and adaptable in what is increasingly an unpredictable work environment. Our BC graduates have a range of skills that are really important, really in demand, and that but also more than just about work, that will help you as a person in a world that's all about media and communication.
Wow, it sounds very good. I've got one more here for you. So I think I saw these figures. I can't recall them. You might. So what tends to be the employment rate out of the Massey Bachelor of Communication? I can't remember when the last graduate destination survey was done, but you might have some figures on there.
My silent partner, Elspeth, Professor Elspeth Telly in the chat, will have these figures at hand, and
she will.
Watch as I get this wrong, and she will politely correct me in the chat. I think it was somewhere in the high 86, 88% within 6 months were employed in a field of I think related to their course of study. So it's pretty good.
Yeah. It's very good. I've got one more here. Do you ever turn students away due to high numbers enrolling?
No, we don't. We have a wide range of opportunities to study, and if you meet, I'm sorry, I must admit, I'm not totally up to date on the transition from high school to university system these days. It's been a while.
But we have no limits. You're right.
No limits. We don't have limits. So if you meet, I don't know what it is, but you're welcome to come along. We don't turn you away. We will provide space for you to do the things that you want to do.
Absolutely. If you meet your university entrance and get entry into the university, there will be no limits on coming into the Bachelor of Communication.
Thank you.
It's an open course that allows you entry with that university entrance background, and you can come in and try out and explore the options available throughout that first year before making that sort of firming up your decision on which major you would like to do going into that second year.
Thank you, Rachel. Welcome to all of those who are tuning in. I, of course, can't see you, but I'll assume that at least some of you are there and are interested perhaps in geography, social anthropology, sociology, or politics and international relations, what we very fondly call our GASP disciplines, which are all part of people, environment, and planning. So my name is Katie Corson. I'm a lecturer in geography at the Albany campus of Massey University. So if you come do geography at Albany, this is the face that you will be seeing for your 3 years there. So I'm going to take you on a tour through each of these disciplines in turn. So normally I wouldn't read my notes like I'm about to, but just because of time constraints, I want to make sure that I fit everything in, so please bear with me. All right, so why study social sciences in a time when only essential life services seem to matter? Is studying for a broad or solid grounding of the world a luxury now? Well, we'd argue that studying social sciences is essential to understanding what shapes our worldviews, because what we hear and who does the telling matters. It's also essential to thinking beyond the limits of our own personal experiences and histories, to learning the craft of listening, deliberating, and searching for solutions that might work for more people. Each of the disciplines I'm going to talk about pursues these differently. And ultimately, the days of single careers are over. The skills employers want now are critical thinking, adaptability, problem solving, social, emotional intelligences. And continuous learning is going to become part of everyone's job. So, starting out with the why question. Why social sciences? Why Massey? Well, I thought rather than just me tell you the reasons that I think Massey is a good choice, it would be better to provide you with some quotes from our students. So we actually polled our students, and here's what they said were the benefits or what they liked about studying social sciences at Massey. So one student said that Massey University has great staff who are supportive and focus on helping students succeed. Our classes are small, maybe 10 to 30 students on average, and very interactive. I get one-on-one interaction with the lecturers, which is pretty unique. Another student said there's a Pacifica community at Massey, and it makes me have a sense of identity and belonging at university. There's easy access to public transport. It's a very diverse place. It has been beneficial to meet people from other countries with different values and norms. Massey is amazing in the way it teaches online with its resources and technology. Distance students never feel isolated, and the online platform is incredible. Distance learning allows you to balance your personal and study life with a lot of flexibility. And a huge number of courses are offered via distance, which means even if a class isn't offered at my campus, I'm still able to do the classes I'm interested in online. And finally, the pastoral support and communication during lockdown was outstanding. I really appreciated a phone call from Palmy to see how I was coping and if there was anything they could do to support me. So those are, in the words of our students, why Massey is different and why you should come study here. So now on to our disciplines. Because I'm giving the presentation, geography came first in the order, but they're in no particular order. So geography's distinctiveness is critical perspective or understanding of the relationships between people and place. My own personal love of geography stems from interest in travel. As you can see from the photos that I've put on the slide, geography has taken me all over the world. Generally, geographers examine how and why space and place matters in contemporary debates about all sorts of things, because place is often at the center of debates about resources, territory, and uneven development. And you can read through, or are probably already reading through the PowerPoint, and you'll see that GIS or computer mapping is one of the really unique or core things that we incorporate into a variety of our courses. So we introduce geographic information science, or it's kind of I think of it as computer mapping, in our first year human geography course through a story map activity, which is kind of a fun, creative activity that students do. And then in a class that I teach called Resource Conservation and Sustainability, students actually complete a semester-long project where they create their own conservation management plan using the same tools, GIS. And then there's a more detailed level course that goes really in depth into GIS. And the cool thing about this is it's a really transferable skill, and tons of jobs are looking for students who have these skills. So if you're curious about what our first year course looks like, it's basically an introductory survey of different topics in human geography. We talk about things like human environment relationships, mapping and GIS, political and economic geography, migration and heritage, food, that's one of my favorite ones. And in my course, or my version of this course taught at Albany, we actually take field trips and we work with a local environmental organization doing some work on streams in the area. So putting the things we learn in class into practice in the real world. All right, so most importantly, maybe for some of you, what kind of jobs can you get with geography? Well, in addition to studying some very interesting and relevant issues facing the world today, our program offers unique opportunities to bridge social science and STEM fields, while also emphasizing some very practical and transferable skills for the workplace, like GIS, which I've already mentioned, story mapping, field work, research methods, those sorts of things. So there's a wide variety of jobs and careers available to geography graduates. Some of those are outlined on this chart. And you'll notice there's particular job titles that are bolded. Those are actual geography graduates. And looking at the geospatial industry in particular, because I've been talking a lot about GIS, nearly all of those jobs requires a bachelor's degree, but employers are looking for students who not only have some technical skills, but who also understand the complexities of society and the natural environment. All right, so that's enough about geography. Social anthropology is the study of human society and cultures. Social anthropology, which we most often just call anthropology, is not a subject you get to take at school, but you can think of it as an extension of social studies, one that will equip you with ways of understanding what it means to be human and some of the contemporary challenges to humanity, like climate change, response to pandemics, just to mention two. So studying social anthropology will develop your understanding of cultures and ethnic groups and show you how your way of life is just one of many possible ways of being human. You'll learn to challenge your existing beliefs and put yourself in others' shoes. All right, so what do some of the introductory level first year classes look like? In introductory social anthropology, you'll explore social and cultural diversity and ask questions like, how does the world look through someone else's eyes? You'll be introduced to key concepts like kinship and family, religion and magic, mythology and ritual, politics and power, art and aesthetics, economics and the environment, and globalization and tourism. Endangered Cultures, which is one of their other first-year courses or classes, explores the impact of modern civilization on Indigenous peoples and their fight for the right to live their lives in line with their own unique cultures. All right, so jobs in anthropology. What skills do anthropology graduates acquire? Well, a set of transferable research and analytic skills, but also an understanding of how culture and society matters. And we've got a bunch of general career options for anthropology graduates on the left side of the screen there, but we've also highlighted two of our graduates. So Chris is a researcher for MB, the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment, and Nina is actually a lecturer at Massey. So those are just two examples from recent graduates. All right, so sociology. Sociology studies the social forces that help shape who we are, how we behave, and how we choose to live our lives. Massey offers a unique suite of courses focused on challenging common sense assumptions and analyzing social problems and contributing to a hopeful future. Learn about social inequality and justice, the changing environment, racism, globalization, gender, the politics of truth, and more. Sociology equips you with the skills to pursue a wide range of possible careers and to live a thoughtful and purposeful life. Now, the program recently created a whole bunch of great new courses that are underpinned by really interesting questions, like the one we've put on the slide, which is, what would your mom do with $600,000? The course looks at wage gaps. So $600,000 is the average female salary difference across a career in New Zealand. Why such a gap? How do we change it? Well, you'll find the answers to those questions in the World of Work course. All right, two first-year classes in sociology. Again, asking these kind of key critical societal questions. Why do we feel alone in problems shared by others? And what does your smartphone really cost? Now, one of my friends teaches one of the courses mentioned on the slide, the stuff of everyday life. And she does this really cool activity where she's gathered all these photos from her friends and colleagues' fridges. And then she has students analyze the photos and think about the kind of person based on the stuff that they have in their fridge. All right, so jobs. Studying sociology does more than just prepare you for a narrow specialty. Rather, it helps you to be ready to meet the challenges and opportunities of our increasingly diverse and complex society. So some of our recent graduates are now working as chief execs, community development officers, policy analysts, a whole list of things that we've got on this slide. Lots of different options. All right, so last but not least, politics and international relations. What is it? If we were to reduce the study of these two interrelated disciplines into one word, it would be power. If we reduced it into two words, it would be power and relations, or power relations. And into three words, it would be power, relations, and questions of ethics. So through these quotes from some of our faculty on the slide, you can see that they each think about and study politics and international relations in different ways. So while some courses are distinctly politics and others international relations, Many aim to bring the two related fields together, so we want our students to get a well-rounded understanding of politics in different historical, geographical, and ideological locations. This slide lists some of the key and controversial topics we discuss. We want students to understand the politics of nation and state, how the two come together, how they sometimes fall apart. So students get a keen understanding of some of these principles when we ask them, for example, to create their own political parties and then hold a class-wide election. So we want our students to understand what lies beyond, what regulates and structures the relations between nation states, between peoples and worldviews. Now, the graduate paths mentioned on this slide represent actual careers achieved by past students, just like I've done on all the previous slides, looking at some of the options available to graduates. So things like civil service, working in the Ministry of Social Development, Treasury, different job opportunities in the defense and security sector, United Nations, local and international NGOs, and media and journalism, or as policy analysts, advisors, researchers, managers in business, industrial, public sectors, a whole host of options. But jobs in this sector are not limited just to these areas. What you do with your degree has infinite possibilities, though will most likely require a fair bit of time in front of the computer, writing or looking for information, and reading some stuff which might seem boring, but which your lecturers will actually help you see are pretty interesting documents that have their own set of politics. So, to wrap up, a wealth of knowledge, not truth, debates, questions, and failed experiments to know and do better await you. Feel free to reach out to the contacts I've listed here to hear more. So we'll have some time at the end of this session, and I think both Marcel and I will stay a bit after the session ends as well to answer any questions you might have. So just write those in through the chat as Rachel has explained. And I've got key contacts for geography, social anthropology, sociology, and politics and international relations up on the slide. And these, of course, are available on Massey's website as well. And some of us have Facebook pages too, if you'd like to go and check out what we're up to.
Thanks, Katie. Hi, everyone. I'm Marcel, and it's my absolute pleasure to be here. I started out where you are right now, except I was in a dusty hall and not in the comfort of my own home. But I started out doing a BA at the School of People, Environment and Planning, studying with some awesome people like the likes of Professor Richard Shaw. And I hope that in the not too distant future, you'll be where I am now. And maybe if I'm lucky, I'll be where Richard Shaw is sitting. So today I'm representing the Centre for Defence and Security Studies. So what's the Centre for Defence and Security Studies? Well, hopefully I'll be able to tell you about that in the next 5 minutes or so. So most people, when they think defence and security studies, they think guns and spies, right? That's the thing that kind of pops to mind. And if you like guns and spies, fantastic. We've got a program for you. But security and defence is about much more than that. It's about protecting our online activity, protecting our information. It's about protecting our borders, our biosecurity, our food and our environment, our resources, our economy, our health. All these things are related to security. And with all respect to my colleagues, I'd suggest that defence and security studies is perhaps the most important thing that we can study, because defence and security is about protecting all the things that are most important to us. How do we look after them? How do we protect them? How do we make sure that we keep them for the next generation? And so this is why I think it's a really important subject to be studying, and why I'm really proud to be involved in it. So what can the Centre for Defence and Security Studies offer you as a student? Well, we're the only centre of its kind in New Zealand. We have New Zealand's only dedicated security and defence studies program. We have a strong interdisciplinary focus, which means that our subject touches on a number of other subjects within the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and it blends well with those disciplines. Obviously, things like politics and international relations are really close, but also things like development studies and environmental studies. So we have both our staff bring together a combination of scholarly and professional expertise. And it's one of the things that makes us different, is that we have both traditional scholars like myself, who came up through the traditional university pathway, but we also have people who represent various agencies and ministries that are involved in defence and security. Folks like Defence, Police, Customs, MPI, these sorts of things. And we bring that together to give you a program that's both scholarly, critically scholarly, but also has practical application, has real world application. We have a number of academic and agency partnerships. So we designed New Zealand's and perhaps the world's first digital student exchange program with the University of North Georgia. We also have strong connections with government agencies such as Defence and some of the others that I mentioned. We have an internship program where you'll be embedded within a security agency and undertake work for them and gain practical hands-on experience. And many of our students who undertake that internship program gain employment within the agency in which they're embedded. We also have a strong research and career pathways so that you can go on and undertake research in our field or go on to postgraduate study. But we also have a really high rate of employability and a ready-made security sector with a whole wide range of jobs that you can undertake if you study with us. And I'll be talking a bit more about some of those in just a moment. But first, what are some of the programs we offer? Well, we have a Defence Studies and a Security Studies major that fits within the Bachelor of Arts. We also have a brand new diploma in border and biosecurity and certificate in border and biosecurity that's coming up next year. So you could be among the first to undertake that if you decide to study with us. And as I mentioned, our program blends well with a number of the other programs within the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. So you could do a major in defence studies and blend it with, say, politics or something like that. You could do a Bachelor of Arts in Defence and Security Studies. Or you could blend with any number of other disciplines. So these are some of the broad programs that we offer. So what are some of the courses that we offer? Well, as you'll see, there's a wide range of subjects that we teach into. The courses that I teach are our Introduction to Security Studies course, which is the first year course for the Security Studies program. So if you take Security Studies with Massey, you'll be seeing more of me, and I hope to see many of you there. I also teach the Terrorism and Political Violence course at third year level. We dig into this issue of terrorism and political violence and why it happens and what we can do to perhaps prevent it. Although some of the topics obviously are some of the topics are a bit heavy. We do some really fun activities, such as black hat operations, where we sit and we think, what might a terrorist do in this situation? How could we potentially head them off? These sorts of things. So we sit down, we have half the class with black hats on, who are the terrorists, so to speak, who are thinking about how we might carry out an attack. And we have the other group who are the white hats, if you will, who are thinking about how we might prevent that attack from happening. And these are just some of the things that we do in the many interesting classes that we have. So the all-important question then, what sorts of jobs are available? Well, as you can see from the slide, we've got a wide range of different jobs beyond, again, military, police and intelligence, though, again, those are part of it. So biosecurity, border protection, things that are really important, obviously, right now with COVID. Policing and law enforcement, but also commercial security, business security, trade security, And on the defence studies side of things, we have things like, of course, we have traditional military activities. How do we engage in wars in the unfortunate event that we need to do that? But also civil defence and disaster relief. What do we do in the event of a crisis? Diplomacy and conflict resolution. How do we prevent conflicts from happening, and how to resolve them when they do happen? Peacekeeping and truce monitoring. How do we maintain peace where it's been affected? And all these other kinds of things. And you'll see at the bottom there, we've got just 2 of our graduates, our recent graduates who are, again, employed in the security sector.
Okay, Kura everyone. A warm welcome to Resource and Environmental Planning session. I'm Imran Muhammad, a coordinator for the program. And you might pick from my accent that I'm an immigrant who moved to this beautiful country only due to professional planning qualification. Like me, professional planning qualification helped Massey graduates to live and work in a different part of the world. So what is planning as a qualification? Are you interested in shaping the future? Do you want to improve the quality of life for people? Or do you want to help and to protect our natural and built environment? If yes, then planning is the career for you. Planning is the future-oriented discipline that deal with the built environment and natural environment. And when I'm talking about the built environment, it's mean about the housing, commercial areas, workplaces, and transport in our cities, while natural environment deal with the effects of the development on the quality of air and water in our regions. Planning is a professional qualification recognized by New Zealand Planning Institute. And Massey, a Bachelor of Resource and Environmental Planning, we generally call BRP, is a unique professional planning degree that combines urban and natural resource planning. And Massey is offering this degree from the last 35 years. It's a 4-year degree available internally from Palmerston North Campus and also via distance learning. In fact, Massey BRP is the first undergraduate professional planning degree in New Zealand and Australia that you can study by distance. BRP is recognized internationally and ranked top 200 in the world. Planning deals with today's problem and tomorrow challenges. Therefore, BRP is structured in a core planning courses and minor courses. Core courses will develop skills related to the future of people, places, and the environment. And students can take a number of courses from other disciplines. For example, if you are passionate about natural environment, then ecology is the right choice for minor courses. If you're interested in built environment, then property management and economics courses are relevant. And if you want to connect with communities, then Māori studies geography courses along with planning core courses provide you a detailed knowledge about the society. And BRP classroom environment is very different actually than a typical lecture theater. Our students work in a groups, present futuristic ideas, consult with professionals and communities to complete the courses. They learn from the real world project, engage in studio work, and create links and network with practitioners. And I have to mention that the field work is a fundamental part of a BRP courses. For example, the built environment courses will take you to Wellington waterfront, Auckland transport hubs, and new subdivision around the country. And the natural environment courses will take you to beach, river, national park to understand the real world planning issues. Okay, so finally, what you get with the Massey BRP, I would say you will get one of the best university experience due to small classes, approachable teachers, and connection with profession. BRP students have an opportunity to spend a semester in universities in Europe and the UK. And BRP graduate can take on a variety of roles, such as a resource and consent planners, urban planner, environmental planners, transport planners, urban designers, and policy analysts. Mainly they work in the local council, and plenty of a job in central government ministries and agencies, consultants, and developers. BRP graduates find job very quickly, and an average earn around 60K plus in their first year of employment. And especially if you are interested in OE, NZPI recognized BRP qualification allow you to work in the UK, Australia, and other. And thank you, and see you in a class of 2021. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Imran. I've got a question here for you that I need your help with. The question is, what are the main pros and cons of doing the environmental planning side through Massey rather than through the Defence Force?
Especially the Massey BRP is mainly cover both the urban and the natural resources. Okay, so many planning degrees, other universities are just focused either on the urban areas or just on the environmental areas. So here, I think this is a Massey unique thing, and I have to say even the government and the Productivity Commission actually mentioned this, acknowledge this Massey actually coverage of both urban and natural resources planning.
Thank you. And it's all about the jobs at the moment, and what we're a lot of people wondering what recent graduates are doing now. Could you just tell us about one more graduate, perhaps what they're doing now, or and also what sort of starting salary you could expect to come out on?
Yeah, I will tell you that I mean generally our graduate actually got the job when they are studying on a fourth year. And some of the students have basically 2 jobs in their hand, and they are working on the city councils as a resource consent planners, policy planners, and some are working on NZTA, New Zealand Transport Agencies, as a planner as well. Some are working in regional councils as an environmental planner, and sometimes as a transport planner. So there is a variety of roles, and some of our students want to join actually with a consultant and developer as well. And as I mentioned that their starting salaries is 60 plus, and within a 5 year actually they are 85 to 90K. Within a 5 year, actually, they achieve that one. And New Zealand Planning Institute website have all the information about the salary structure of the planners, especially initially in their career.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the education presentation. My name is Lucila Carvalho, and I am a senior lecturer at the Institute of Education. And today I will be talking about the Bachelor of Arts in Education. And my colleague Judith Donaldson is also from the Institute of Education, and she's going to take over at the second part of this presentation, and she's going to be talking about the Graduate Diploma of Learning and Teaching. So in the BA Education, you will explore different themes. And some of these themes relate to these questions of here. How do people learn, or how is learning changing in the digital world? What's the purpose of education? And does everyone in New Zealand have the same opportunity to succeed at school? So we look at a range of different themes which are divided in 3 main strands. So the first strand, education studies. So this is an area where you're going to be exploring things related to the politics of education and the philosophy of education, which basically is about the nature of knowledge and the aims of education system. A second theme that we have is human development, So in human development, you are going to be looking at the physical and cognitive aspects related to learning and education. And the third strand over here is about culture and society. So you look at how different social groups or cultural groups relate to learning and to education. So things like Pacifica groups or digital education, or how can we use technology for learning, or aspects related to the knowledge society. So there are many different areas and many different possibilities in the BA education, but they basically relate to these three main strands. The structure of the degree, if you want to do a major in education, so you would be doing 2 compulsory courses, which one is the Introduction to Social and Cultural Studies, and the other one is Human Development. And after that, you would choose 9 other options of courses in education. And there are many choices to choose from. All our courses are grounded on current research and theory, and we have a mix of online and face-to-face offerings. In terms of variety of options and topics, I just put a few subjects over here, but there's many more. So there are things like equity and diversity in education, or teaching and learning in everyday settings, learning in the digital world, teaching and learning with Pacifica peoples in New Zealand, the politics of education. So there's many different options that you can choose from. And overall, the BA education is a very versatile degree because it allows you to explore topics that you are interested in, and you cannot explore those topics in depth. But you also, during this degree, you gain transferable skills that can serve you in your professional life. People that study in the education degree, they can go to a wide range of possibilities in their life, and this is really important, but particularly in the contemporary times where you're supposed to have more than one career in a lifetime. So in the BA education, you have the grounding to many different professions. So not only professional educators, but also you can have a go at makerspace or game designers. All these different professions would benefit from learning about education. But if you want to become a teacher, then you have to go to a graduate diploma of learning and teaching. And my colleague, Judith Donaldson, is going to talk about specifically about what is involved with that. And I will pass my microphone to Judith. Over to you, Judith.
Kia ora koutou, called Judith Donaldson, TNA. Currently, I co-lead the Graduate Diploma of Teaching Secondary program, and I'm also leading the development of Massey's new Graduate Diploma of Learning and Teaching, and this will replace the existing separate graduate diplomas of teaching in early childhood education, primary and secondary from 2021. So how do you become a teacher through Massey University? All teacher education at Massey is at graduate level. That means that in order to take our teacher training program, you need to first get a degree. And this usually means 3 years of full-time study. During your final, you can then apply for a place in the teaching program. It's called a selected entry program because candidates are selected on the basis of suitability to become a teacher. Then graduates from this program are eligible to register as New Zealand teachers. From 2021, our new Graduate Diploma of Learning and Teaching will replace the 3 existing separate graduate diplomas. We know that there are both similarities and differences between teaching and learning in early childhood centres and schools. So there are some courses everyone takes, and also some separate courses which lead to separate endorsements for early childhood education, primary and secondary. The program can be taken by distance and in some cases on campus, and is available full-time over 1 year or part-time over 2 years. The academic year extends from the end of January until early December. That's to allow time for 16 weeks of placement in schools or centres to be woven around coursework. So what should you study in your degree to be considered for selection? That's a very important question, and one that you may find useful to discuss with a Massey advisor. The answer will depend to a significant extent on whether you want to become an early childhood teacher, a primary teacher, or a secondary teacher. Early childhood and primary teachers are often called generalist teachers because they're responsible for teaching right across all the learning areas. And because of this, there are no particular subjects that you have to study. We recommend that you follow your own interests and, at the same time, consider taking some courses that will be useful for you as a teacher. For example, some education courses, and those with a focus on New Zealand society, our treaty partnership, and Te Reo Māori. The core courses of the Massey BA provide an excellent background to bring into teaching too. Now, secondary teachers, on the other hand, are specialist teachers. Usually they will have a main subject area which they can teach from year 9 to 30 and a second subject which they might say just teach at junior level. To teach at secondary level, you must study your future teaching subjects in your degree. That's really important because the teaching diploma does not teach you the content for secondary teaching. It teaches you how to teach the content you've already studied. So, for example, to be a science teacher who specialises in chemistry and who also teaches maths as a second subject, you could take a Bachelor of Science and study chemistry and other science courses to 300 level and some maths courses to 200 level. Or to become an English and social studies teacher, you might take an arts or communications degree and study English courses to 300 level and social sciences courses to 200 level. Now finally, but also very importantly, what personal qualities and skills will the selection panel want to see when you apply to become a teacher? The last couple of months have shown New Zealanders just how important teachers are in our communities. Relationships sit at the heart of all good teaching. So the desire and ability to build relationships and work collaboratively with colleagues, with learners and their whānau is essential, as is the commitment to valuing every child or young person on their own terms. That means valuing their culture, language, abilities, needs and interests. Try to get involved in community groups such as sports or cultural clubs, and please develop your own personal organisational skills. As a very wise educator, Parker J. Palmer reminds us, good teaching cannot be reduced to technique. Good teaching comes from the identity and integrity of the teacher. Best wishes for your journey to becoming a teacher. Ka kite.
Many thanks, Judith and Lucilla. So I have a few questions here that we've got a little bit of time, so I'll just get you to answer, whoever is able to answer the particular question. So the first one is asking, when applying for the graduate diploma in teaching, does it help to have a minor?
Yes, it does, especially if you're applying to become a secondary teacher, because we know that most schools look to secondary teachers to be able to teach at least in 2 subject areas. So if you want to become a secondary teacher, think about the subjects that are taught in secondary schools. Think about the one that drives your passion, because it's about your passion, it's about your enthusiasm. What is that area? And then perhaps what's the next area? In terms of becoming a primary or an early childhood teacher, again, having a range of courses and content is really, really helpful. So I would say, yes, it's really helpful.
Thank you. And another one here, there's a question, could I major in a science area and minor in a fine arts, creative arts area?
Yes, potentially you could. And certainly one of the things that we find increasingly, I've been at Massey in the graduate teaching secondary for many years now, and increasingly we're finding that people come with more diverse degrees and with some wonderfully creative mixes of subject areas. So the issue for you would be to find a degree that you could fit your fine arts into as well as your science study. Of course, the other thing people often do is that they will complete a degree and then they will think, oh, but I love fine arts. And they might go off and do a certificate in something like fine arts, and then they come to us with a completed degree in their major subject area and an additional qualification in their second area. So yes.
And one last question for you. How long would I need to be at uni to be an early childhood teacher?
It's exactly the same as for a primary teacher or a secondary teacher. The very exciting thing about the early childhood sector at the moment that you may be aware of is that the government is moving towards full registration of every teacher at early childhood level. So early childhood teachers are on the same, exactly the same level as primary teachers and secondary teachers. A registered early childhood teacher starts with the same salary as a registered primary or secondary teacher with the same qualifications. And in 2021, that's just short of $56,000.
Kia ora koutou, ko hui Yankei ahau no Ngāti Kahungunu, Ngāti Tōrangatira, Ngai Tahu me Ngāti Hine. My name is Hui Yankei and I'm Professor of Māori Education in Te Pūtahi Ātoi, the School of Māori Knowledge. There are two of us presenting tonight on teaching in Kura Kaupapa Māori. My colleague Anahita Bowen, who lectures in the program and who also represents Te Runanga o Ngā Kura Kaupapa Māori, which is the governing body of Kura Kaupapa Māori in Aotearoa. Anahita will deliver her kōrero in te reo. Just to be clear, there are two systems of education in New Zealand. English medium schools, and you've just heard our colleagues Judith and Lucilla talk about the English medium programs offered in the Institute of Ed, and Kura Kaupapa Māori, the generally called Māori medium schools. In preparing graduates for teaching in Kura Kaupapa Māori, Massey has partnered with Te Runanga. It's a very important partnership for us. We can co-construct the course with the members of the Runanga and they teach in our courses as well. The reason why we partnered with Te Runanga is because the architects of the Kura Kaupapa system are located there. They are, because all the teachers in Kura Kaupapa and the principals of Kura Kaupapa belong to the Runanga. And so it was important that in preparing graduates for the Kura Kaupapa system, that our students have access to the best experts in the world, and they're from the sector. Important principles of our partnership are that our programs are offered through the medium of Te Reo Māori. In other words, all our programs are taught in Te Reo. All assignments are in Te Reo, or everything's in Te Reo. So to enter our programs, you need to be a fluent speaker of Te Reo Māori. Our programs are the only university-based total immersion program in initial teacher education in the country. In fact, we're the only Māori Indigenous-based program like this in the world. The other unique aspect of our program is that all the courses are underpinned by the philosophy of education, Te Ao Matua, which is the only philosophy to come out of Aotearoa. Most all other philosophies are from Europe, the United States, England, Australia. And Te Ao Matua as a philosophy is legislated for the Kura Kaupapa Māori system. An important aspect of our programs is that you can study online, and then you are expected to attend 3 wānanga that are a week long here in Palmerston North over the course of the year. Studying online means that you don't have to leave home, but can study at a distance. If you were to enter our programs, you'd be located in a kura hāpai to study for the duration of your studies, where you'll get support from the teachers based there. That kura hāpai could be your local kura. So again, you wouldn't have to leave home, but be based and come to Palmerston North. If you wanted to teach in a Kura Kaupapa Māori and you do not have a degree already, you would enter our undergraduate program, Te Aho Tātairangi, which is a 3-year Bachelor of Teaching and Learning Kura Kaupapa Māori. All courses, I'll just remind, in Te Reo. We start the year at the end of January with a week-long wānanga here in Palmerston North at Te Pūtahi Ātoi, and then the year finishes in late November. All our graduates of Te Aho Tātairangi are qualified to teach in any Kura Kaupapa Māori and English medium primary school in Aotearoa. So our students are very lucky because they have qualifications that can allow them to teach in any primary school and in Kura Kaupapa Māori. So what are the general areas of studies you take? Te Ara Tangata, which is contextual studies, so that focuses on Te Ao Māori, particularly kaupapa Māori perspectives on, I suppose the English equivalent might be child and human development in the context of Te Ao Māori, the Māori world. But you'll also be introduced to world knowledges as well for all other general areas of study, but from a Māori perspective. The professional studies, Te Ao Tangata, that's teaching you about the art of teaching, the nature of knowledge or mātauranga, and professional practice. Te Mano Te Reo, that's that content knowledge for such areas as language, numeracy, literacy. And Te Ao Ako are our integrated subject studies such as health, phys ed, music and performance, waka ama, sciences, those subjects. Why teach in Kura Kaupapa Māori? Well, within the environment of Kura, our language and culture are taken for granted norms. They're just normal. Rather than a profession, all our graduates are prepared for a way of life, and you will work with each tamariki in the context of their whānau and their community. All our graduates leave Massey and are employed immediately. Their salaries are commensurate with any teacher with a 3-year degree. And before I hand over to Anahira, I just want to say we also offer a postgraduate 1-year program, which we will share at the postgraduate information evening in a couple of weeks. Kia ora everyone, hand over to you now.
Ko te tūmanako ia kei te noho haumaru koutou I o koutou kāinga maha I te motu. Ko Anahira Bowen tōku ingoa, no Ngāti Porau. He kaia ko ahau I te Kura Kaupapa Māori o rua matā mō ngā tau 22. I nei ka mahi au mo te runanga nui o ngā Kura Kaupapa Māori o Aotearoa. A ka mahi ahau ki te taha o ngā pauako o Toikura. Nau mai ki te aho tātairangi. Nau mai haere mai. He kaupapa I kōkiri hia e whaia huia Yankee, he amorangi no te kūnenga ki Pūrehu roa, rāoko Tony Waho, te tumuaki o te runanga nui o ngā Kura Kaupapa Māori I taua wā. Ko tipu mai te kaupapa nei. Ki te ngākau nui koe ki ngā tamariki, ki te reo Māori hoki, kōrero ki a Tina Blake Punga, mō ngā tikanga whakauru ki te aho tātairangi. Ko ia te kaitiaki o te tari o toi kura. Ko ngā pūkenga whakaako, no ngā kura kaupapa Māori, no te kūnenga ki Purehuroa hoki. He tino pauako e nei. Ko te nuinga he tumua ki kura kaupapa Māori toa o te motu. E tahi atu, he pauako kua ahu mai i te aho tātairangi o mua. Ko ngā kohi a tākuta Kathy Dews, ka ruku ki ngā hohunutanga o te aho matua me te whakaako tamariki. Ko wā koka Brenda Suter, ko te reo matatini, pānui me te tuhituhi. Ko wā Pāpa Rawiri Wright, ko te hitori o ngā kura kaupapa Māori me ngā take tōranga pū. Ko wā Pāpa Wī Pōhatu, ko ngā momo toi. Ko whaia mari ropata te hei, te rangatira me te kaitiaki o ngā tohu e rua, te aho tātairangi me te aho pairewa. Ka whakaako hoki ia i etahi pepa o te aho pairewa. Ko koka nods karatea kōkiri, te pauako tikanga a iwi, ko rahira whiliata te pauako pangarau, ko matua Hona Black te pauako reo Māori. He tohunga rātou katoa ki te whakaako. Ko etahi o ngā akoranga, ka whakatakotohia ki ngā wānanga e toru ka tū ki te pūtahi a toi i ia tau. Ka ahu mai ngā akoranga matua i ngā wānanga nei i tō tātou ahurea Māori tūturu. Ko te raranga, ko te maurakau, ko te waka ama e tahi tauira. I ngā wānanga, ka noho marae, ka kaitahi, ka āwhinatahi i te kāuta, ka manaaki tētahi i tētahi. Koinei e tahi tikanga ka hehetia, kia mau i ngā ākonga, kia whakaako atu ki ngā tamariki a tōna wā. Tua atu i ngā wānanga, ko ngā akoranga mai i tawhiti. Pērā me ngā zui, ngā hui topa meki. Anō ko te manga, stream, te wāhi ka tuku i ngā taumahi me ngā aromatawai. Nā reira, ka taia te noho ki te kāinga. Ko ngā tino akoranga mō koutou, ko ērā ka hopukina e koutou i ngā wheako whakaako. Ono ki te waru wiki i a tau, ka noho koutou hei pauako tauira ki tētahi kura kaupapa Māori. He kura hāpai ka whakai ki te tauawhi i a koutou. Kia ea i a koutou te toru tau, ka pōtaingia koutou. Ka tai atu te whānau whānui ki te whakanui i a koutou. Ko te tohu kairangi o Katarina te hei kōkō mataira, he karahipi, rua mano tāra te nui. Ko tahi te raukura, ka whiwhi i tēnei, mō āna mahi, kaha tautoko, kaha hāpai i ona hoa, kaha ū ki te reo Māori, me te aho matua hoki. Hei āwhina i te taha utu, ko ngā momo karahipi Teach NZ tētahi huarahi, kei ngā rūnanga a iwi hoki he pūtea tautoko. Ko te karahipi kupe he te kaumarima mano tāra e nui. Ko te whakaako Māori he te kaumano tāra. Ko te karahipi tīni umanga he toru te kaumano tāra i ia tau. Kei te tūwhera ngā karahipi i tēnei wātonu. Nā reira e hoa mā, kia kamakama mai, kia kamakama mai koutou ki te tono tūranga o te tohu nei a te aho tātairangi. Nā reira, nau mai, haere mai, kake mai, tauti mai rā, tēnā rā koutou katoa.
Kia ora koutou. My name is Brian Walpert, and I'm here with my colleague Hannah August to talk about English and creative writing. English and creative writing have in common a great interest in fantastic books and stories and plays and poems, and we're both interested in how they mean and what makes them really interesting and why we should love them, that sort of thing. In English, you would tend to spend a lot of your writing time writing about those books and stories and plays and poems. And in creative writing, you would tend to spend your writing time writing those poems and plays and stories, that sort of thing. So what's on offer? So your first year looks something like this. We have creative writing. So you might have stories or poems in your drawer. How many people have a poem or a story? Yep, a lot of you, I can see that. And you learn a lot of tricks of the trade: image, metaphor, plot, voice. You read stories, poems, plays, things of that nature. Well, stories and poems in that course, for what they can teach you as a writer, what you can glean from them, what sort of permission they give to you in writing your own work. And you get a lot of feedback. Prize-winning fiction, amazing books. But what makes them so great? And wait, how do we define great? Wait, who gets to define great? Those are some of the questions there. Introduction to English Studies, exactly as it sounds, like, what's a sonnet? All you need to know to make studying English and creative writing a lot easier. Trust us. And imaginary worlds, science fiction and fantasy. That's right, you get to read science fiction and fantasy for credit. Don't tell anyone. Beyond the first year, plenty to offer you. If you want to continue on with writing, we've got fiction, poetry, eco-writing. We have writing for children. We have creative nonfiction, making plays for theater, script writing. If your interest is more on the English side, we've got Gothic, Shakespeare, young adult fiction, all drama, publishing, American lit, post-colonial literature, Victorian literature, and more. Okay, so why us though? Why Massey? Why Massey when versus the other universities? I hear there are a few others, but here's why. We get you out there. Our students have gone on to publish poems, stories, essays, and even books, as well as being recognized in some of the top prizes in New Zealand. We do this stuff. This is what we do. This is what we love. Your teachers are award-winning, well-published writers, or literary editors, or literary judges, or literary critics. That's what we love to do. We love this stuff. We love teaching. Our lecturers win teaching awards. They just keep giving them to us. And why? Because we love teaching. We love talking about what it is we do. And we love when our students get excited about books. This stuff will get you a job. Sorry. Teacher, policy analyst, TV writer, arts administrator, travel writer, researcher, communication specialists. Companies really like students who can write well. Communication has been listed as one of the top 3 qualities that employers are looking for. And that's what we do. And finally, real students actually said these things about our courses. I never dreamed at the start of this year that my learning would grow to the point where I felt confident enough to enter a poetry competition. What this class has taught me is to see the world around me with different eyes. I get such joy from even the smallest things. Yes, it was your class. I want to get my PhD and become a lecturer and a published author. I now believe that I have it in me to do that. And this course is one of the most life-changing and enriching learning experiences I have had. Students actually said that, and that's pretty typical of our classes. I'm open for questions.
Fantastic. Thank you, Brian. I've got a good one here. I'm looking at doing a BSc, but have an interest in creative writing. Would it be possible to take it as a minor or take certain papers? On the BSc side of things, I can answer that there's definitely spaces available within a Bachelor of Science degree to have take papers from another college, such as creative writing. From your side, what would you say to someone who's wanting to do that, and perhaps how it would benefit them to have creative writing within a Bachelor of Science degree?
Yes, absolutely. You can. In fact, some of our students regularly come from other degrees like the sciences. In fact, the sciences bring us some really excellent students. I've even had the occasional associate professor in our university come and take creative writing classes out of interest, who are in the sciences. Yeah, it's fantastic. As a matter of fact, my interest as a writer is the connection between literature and science, short fiction and science, poetry and science. So I have a great interest in students with a science background and joining us.
So it sounds like a good idea. One more question there. How many students do creative writing each year? And to add to that, just sort of the class sizes. What do the class sizes look like for either a lecture or a tutorial that a student coming in might have?
So we get a lot of students. I don't have the exact numbers, but for example, our first year course, the creative writing one that I mentioned, that draws about 120 in distance and another 60 on the campuses. 180 take that course every year alone, plus they move on to other courses. In terms of class sizes, they tend to be in the 10 to 20 range would be your typical class size. Workshops, which are the foundational way we teach creative writing, you tend to want in the 15 to 18 maximum is what we strive for, usually get.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It's absolutely my pleasure to be here. I'm really delighted to be talking to you tonight. I'll just start that slideshow. I'm based in Palmerston North, but I'm talking about psychology across all three campuses. I'm a senior clinical psychologist and senior lecturer, and I'm just wanting to share a bit about what psychology is and how we do it at Massey. I guess the first thing to think about is, what is psychology? At its heart, it's about people, but it's a science as well. It's a scientific study of behaviour and the associated biological, cognitive and social processes in humans and in other living beings as well. We talk a lot about understanding how the brain works, and we provide insights into all aspects of human life for both individuals and groups and our communities. We look at understanding developmental and contextual influences on behaviour. And part of what we talk about as we move through the program is exploring and understanding mental distress, such as depression, anxiety, trauma, eating disorders and addictions. Psychology can also help you better understand yourself and other people around you as well. Although we definitely advise not to look too deeply into your own psyche or that of your friends and family while you're studying psychology until you get a bit further along. Studying psychology will give you knowledge and practical skills that will make you attractive to many employers. You'll become knowledgeable about key methods, important findings and major theories of psychology, and you'll be able to think independently and critically about psychological issues and be able to objectively look at problems and being able to evaluate different sources of information. We talk about and teach how to understand modern scientific research and how to design and conduct research and analyse data in a variety of ways. And you can also develop and will develop excellent communication skills, both written and oral, along with problem-solving skills, cooperation, teamwork, and leadership ability as well. And it's also a really key part of our program and our training to understand, respect and value diversity. Why study at Massey? People, place and programs. We have dedicated teachers who are experts in their fields. We have world-class researchers who contribute nationally and internationally in written research articles, as well as conferences and community organisations. We have experienced clinicians and staff who work in and engage with our local communities. And we deliver across all 3 locations, including online, and that means that we as staff build close working relationships with our students. In terms of the programs that we offer, as a tiriti-led university, and particularly in psychology, we have a really strong commitment to bicultural awareness and the importance of that when we're looking at mental distress. So we look at bicultural sensitivity and responsiveness. We have a comprehensive set of courses that will fit any of your interests. And we have applied content which look at real issues that face real people in our communities. And our courses are driven by top quality research, and they discuss the latest findings and issues from around the world, but particularly those that face us here in Aotearoa. Where will psychology take you? There's a number of career options for an undergraduate degree, including looking at things such as counselling, human resources, youth support, and then policy and government level jobs. There are also pathways to postgraduate study, which will lead to registration as a psychologist and being able to use that term and practice as a psychologist. So for further information, I'd really encourage you to explore the website, the School of Psychology website, and you can see that there's a range of different programs and ways that you can incorporate psychology into your degree as a major, or to take psychology papers as electives to strengthen other qualifications that you might be taking. And it's my pleasure to introduce Raj Prasanna now, who's going to talk to you from the Joint Centre for Disaster Research.
Thanks, Kirsty. Kura, everyone. As introduced by Kirsty, I'm Raj Prasanna, and I'm from the Joint Centre for Disaster Research. We are a world-class research centre at Massey University, and we are also part of the School of Psychology. Today, I'd like to introduce you to 2 new exciting study options: Bachelor of Arts minor and Diploma in Arts endorsement in Disaster Risk and Emergency Management. These programs are developed by the Joint Centre for Disaster Research. And in fact, in New Zealand, at the moment, Massey is the only university for you to study disaster and emergency management at the undergraduate level. Probably you may be thinking as an undergraduate student, why is it important to study emergency management? I hope you agree that considering the current global situation, enrolling in this type of qualification is timely and relevant, not only because of the current challenges we are facing due to COVID-19, but throughout the last couple of decades across the world, we have seen a big increase in disasters and emergencies. Therefore, managing them has become quite important. If you enroll in the study programs we offer, you will be able to learn how to manage the key phases of emergencies and disasters. If you are doing a BA major, here in this slide, I have listed several relevant majors as examples. The emergency management minor we offer will be an ideal add-on which can strengthen your career options and also can open other new opportunities. As mentioned earlier, with the increase in disasters and emergencies, there is a significant increase in demand for expertise in the field of disaster and emergency management. Traditionally, when we hear emergencies, we think only about natural disasters. For example, earthquakes, volcanoes, or tsunamis. But as we observe today, disaster or emergency can be due to many other man-made triggers. A classic example is what we are facing today due to COVID-19. If you look at how we have been managing the current COVID-19 response, we can see that emergency management experts work in hand with health specialists and many other stakeholders in the response. Similarly, we have to anticipate facing other types of disasters and emergencies. For example, disasters and emergencies can be triggered due to technology, agriculture, and climate-related events, or even it can be security or defense-related. And as a country, and as populations across countries, we need to be ready. When these disasters strike, specialists from relevant fields have to work with disaster and emergency management specialists to respond to that event and be ready to recover from it. We need the expertise of emergency management specialists, not only to respond to these events, but also to prepare and to reduce impacts from any future events. With the increasing demand for disaster and emergency management specialists, you will get career opportunities in places like local and regional councils, government departments and non-governmental agencies, and also in emergency services, power, transport and telecommunication companies, and variety of other private organizations. These places create job roles such as disaster management, emergency management advisors, officers, coordinators, commanders, controllers, and even high-ranking managers and directors' jobs in emergency and disaster management. Right now, countries across the globe are looking for opportunities to expand their human capacity in disaster and emergency management. If I touch a little bit on disaster and emergency management career opportunities in New Zealand, jobs related to disaster and emergency management have been created in places like local and regional councils, NGOs and INGOs, defense, police, fire service, and ambulance services. It is clear that the number of jobs in this field is expanding, especially after the recent government review into the management of emergencies across New Zealand. And the job market is expected to increase further with the COVID-19 response. You can also see that jobs have been created in many government organizations, including places like Ministry of Primary Industries, Ministry of Business, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Ministry of Health. In addition, places like hospitals, schools, where public services are provided, also considering strengthening their emergency management capacity. One question most of you may ask is how much I can earn if I work in the disaster or emergency management sector. Obviously, it varies. But if you start as an emergency management officer or advisor, one can expect a salary above 75K. So future of disaster and emergency management related careers seems very positive and bright, both domestically and internationally. Therefore, I would like to invite all of you to consider enrolling in these exciting qualifications to study disaster and emergency management. Even if you decide not to enroll in these qualifications, you still have the opportunity to enroll in our emergency management courses as electives to strengthen your career expectations. Finally, this last slide shows that these programs we offer in the emergency management at the undergraduate level are not just ad hoc, but we have created a clear academic pathway if you like to do further studies at postgraduate level, and to the level where you can even plan to obtain a PhD in disaster or emergency management. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And if you have time, we are happy to take questions.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Yvonne toku ingoa. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. I'm the clinical director of the speech language therapy program. Not many people know about speech language therapy, so it's good to have you join me. I wonder if you know someone who's a speech language therapist, or maybe you have an interest in a career working with people that combines your interests in health, science, education, or psychology, as you've just heard about. Speech language therapy is a great combination of all of these. So speech language therapists work with people who have difficulties communicating or eating and drinking skills. We work with people of all ages, anyone who has a communication or eating difficulty. This is one of our graduates using signs to support this little girl's speech and language development. Our work is always with the person and their family. We support the person who has a communication difficulty, and we support the family to support them. Our work with babies can start as soon as there's a problem. It may be in the neonatal ward in a hospital, or it's been detected that a baby has difficulty with feeding. We also work with young children supporting their speech sound development to improve speech sound production. You may have heard of some kids having difficulty with speech sounds. For example, they may say ta instead of ka. They also may have hearing difficulties that may have caused this type of difficulty. Our work is also with children who have difficulties with their language development, and this can be the cause of having difficulties with their learning. Part of our role with these children will be supporting their language skills and their learning in their preschool or school. Other communication difficulties we work with will be stuttering or croaky voices or not being able to verbally communicate. So for these children, we look at other forms of communication. It may be that we will introduce the use of a device, for example, an iPad, or we may consider introducing sign language. We'll work with the family to understand what will be the best option for the child and for them. Our work with adults is mostly due to some sort of trauma or brain injury that has caused for that person a speech communication disorder. So it might be a stroke or an accident. Usually it's a car accident. In these cases, the brain injury has caused a communication disorder and sometimes a swallowing disorder as well. And you may know of James Rolliston there on the slide. He's a New Zealand actor and he was in Boy and Pork Pie and a few other movies. He had an accident and so was in rehab for quite some time. A speech language therapist was part of the team who supported his recovery. Some communication disorders that can be caused by other conditions are dementia. And you may know of Adele, that she had vocal nodules and she needed to have these surgically removed. After that, she needs speech language therapy to support her voice recovery. And of course, we also work with adults who have stuttering difficulties. So depending on the people you're working with, you may work in early childhood settings, preschools, schools, people's homes, in hospitals, in rest homes. Our work is where the people who need help are. So as part of our work, we need to work with other professionals who are also working with those people. So that will be teachers, nursing staff, doctors, allied health professionals such as physios and occupational therapists. We may also work in the courts. So that work involves supporting young people to understand the charges that have been brought against them. We will also support them to understand the penalties of those charges and to support them to speak in their own defence. And many speech language therapists are also working in their own practices. So study at Massey. Our course is delivered from Massey by world-class leaders in speech language therapy. And as of next year, our course will be delivered by distance. Massey will be the only distance program studying speech language therapy in New Zealand. So that means that there will be no weekly classes. We will have some face-to-face classes, a few of those, but mostly the learning is online and supported by our expert staff. You can also study our course part-time. Our course involves learning in your community alongside other speech language therapists, putting into practice what you're learning. You'll start these visits in year 1 so that you can observe what an SLT does. So your typical week in year 1 will involve some classes online, some study on your own, and every couple of weeks some visit to speech language therapists in their workplace. In year 1, you can also manage some part-time paid employment if you wish to, but we recommend no more than 10 hours a week. You'll be really well supported by our staff and others in your community. You'll be linking with other students in your cohort as well. Some of our students have family overseas, and for these students, we've arranged for them to have their workplace placements, so that would be block placements of a few weeks. We've arranged to have those placements overseas with them. So for example, our students have gone to the UK, to Canada, and to the USA. So do you think this might be the right fit for you? Do you enjoy working with people? Do you enjoy being part of a team? Do you think you have good listening and communication skills? Do you enjoy working out what options would be best to support a family? Do you have an interest in education, psychology, health, and science? Our degree is also a great preparation for working with people in industry. One of our graduates is working at Sky TV at a managerial level. We're extremely proud of our graduates. They're well sought after because our degree has a great reputation. We know we prepare our students well for the workplace. We hear this feedback from employers each year. Our graduates get jobs. This year, due to COVID-19, we've introduced telepractice via Zoom and this Teams platform to work with clients and their families online, just as SLTs in the community are now doing. Our degree is accredited. That means you can work overseas, the UK, Ireland, Australia, Asia, like many of our grads already do. So if you think this might be good for you, the right fit, we'd love you to join us. Go to our course on Massey's website, find out how to apply. The entry requirements are simply university admission with a proficiency in English. You'll need to submit a written application, and we have a selection process that involves an interview. Our profession has mostly been female, but over the past few years this is changing and we have more male speech language therapists, so don't let that put you off. We're also very keen to recruit more Māori and Pacifica speech language therapists into the profession, so if that's you, please get in touch with us. Ngā mihi nui, kia koutou. I hope you have a great evening and all the best for whatever career choice you make.